So thank you for all of you who are attending the Heston Cranford Area Forum. This will be the last one for the year, and the next one will be in January sometime. Thank you for all the stall holders who have been here today and presenting their wares, and I hope you've had an opportunity to discuss any of the issues that you had with the stall holders that were present. We're now going to move on to the business of the meeting, and I'm going to wait until the last people sit down. Okay.
People are interested, there are some spare agendas there in the end where Councillor Malik is.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to crack on with the meeting. If anybody wishes to have a copy of the agenda, there are some at the back of the room. Oh, just at the front here. Okay. So if anybody wants to grab that, they can go ahead. Right. At the last minute, we didn't have a round robin of councillor identification, so I'm going to give the opportunity for my councillors to introduce themselves formally around this table. So I'll kick off first. So my name's Councillor Gurmail Lal, and I am a councillor for Heston East Ward, and I am the chair of the Heston Cranford Area Forum. So if I can go over to Councillor Malik.
Okay, my name is Councillor Malik, and I represent Heston West area.
Councillor Vikram Garwal, good evening all. I represent Cranford Ward.
Good evening all, I'm Councillor Ax Ahmed and I'm a councillor in Heston East.
Yeah, my name is Councillor Shivraj Garewal and I'm Councillor for Heston Central and Cabinet Member for Infrastructure and Recycling.
Hi, I'm Councillor Harleen Actwell here. I represent Heston Central Ward. Thank you.
Hello, I am Councillor Hira Dillon and I represent Cranford Ward.
Hi, good evening all. I am Councillor Ghazala Bhatt and I am Councillor for Cranford Ward. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Okay. So, on the agenda in front of you, councillors, agenda item number 1, apologies for absence. I have apologies from Councillor Amrit Maan, Councillor Shantanu Rajawat, and Councillor Emma Sidhu. Councillor Riaz Gul. Yep. Do we have any declarations of interest or any other communication from members? None? Okay, that's good. Moving on to agenda item number 2, which is on pages 7 to 12, the minutes of the previous meeting. So first, I'd like to go through the minutes for accuracy. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6. Right. Now, from those minutes, are there any matters arising, councillors? No? Okay.
Good evening. I just wanted to mention a correction that needs to be made in the minutes of last meeting. On the agenda and addendums, it's page 11, which refers to the rectory farm proposals. I'd just like it to be noted that it says that only councillors from Heston West received the notification of the meeting, but in fact it had been issued, an email had been sent to all councillors, but only one councillor attended. And I think it's important to correct it because the current statement or minutes are otherwise disingenuous. Thank you.
Which paragraph are you referring to?
In page 11, Rectory Farm Proposals, it said that it was noted the meetings organised by the developers in the spring had been poorly attended. Concerned were also raised about levels of publicity. And there's a statement made about, let me just find it. He indicated that only members of Heston West Ward had been officially invited to the consultation by the developers, but an email had been sent out to all of the councillors. So I think it's important to say that Heston East, Heston Central and Heston West councillors had all been invited, but only Councillor Malik attended.
I think the key point here is that my recollection from the previous meeting was that the developers held a pre-consultation meeting at Cranford School, and from what I can gather, invitations were sent out. I'm not too sure how widespread that email chain was, but I'm quite happy to realise the fact that a pre-consultation took place, and at the very least, Councillor Karamat Malik attended the event, and he also, at that previous meeting, reiterated his desire to work with the residents to ensure that any planning application which comes to for that site, he will try to champion whatever the residents' concerns were. So I'm quite happy that representation is there for any parties who are concerned about that development. So as far as the council's position is concerned, we are on board and we are aware of the situation regarding that particular site. So the minutes will stand as is.
Okay, in that point, in that case, you're saying that you're not amending them to reflect the facts.
Like I said, I don't recall the entirety of that conversation, but what I do recall is that we had a very, very good constructive meeting where the councillors were sympathetic to the residents' views on that particular site, and we have a champion within the Heston Cranford area with Councillor Karamat Malik, who's going to work towards resolving the issues that you may present should a planning application go on. I'm going to move on now, please.
In its current form, though, the minutes are inaccurate. That's my point. The minutes are inaccurate because it states that only Heston West councillors received an invitation, but it had gone to everyone. And that's what I want to have corrected. So it is an important fact, because to say otherwise is inaccurate and untrue.
As I reiterated earlier, residents' concerns are being addressed by this area forum, and in particular Councillor Karamat Malik, who is one of the ward councillors. Right, I need to move on. No, I'm afraid it's matters arising, and it's usually only the councillors which approve the accuracy or the issues or matters arising from the minutes. I don't normally allow residents to be discussing in detail the matters arising. So I gave that opportunity to Michael, which is fine, but I want to move on with the... Again, you're repeating what Michael's already said, and I've already addressed that. So we're going to move on. Right, so if we move on to agenda item number, come back to the agenda item number 2. So we've covered the accuracy of the minutes and we've covered the matters arising councils. Can I approve the minutes as an accurate reflection of the meeting? Agreed? Moving on to agenda item number 3, we've got a community spotlight presentation from an organization called SheWise. It's on page 13 of the agenda, and I would like to invite the
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Selma Ullah. I'm one of the founders of a charity called SheWise, and I'm actually just going to take you through the work that we're doing in the borough of Hounslow. So just to give you a background to what we're doing, sorry, I'm just listening to the comments. It's actually thrown me out completely. I beg your pardon. So because we work for the community, so therefore everything what's being said is actually matters to what the work that we're doing. So SheWise, basically who we are. So SheWise is an award-winning women-only community-led charity supporting the educational, economic and social development of vulnerable women and young girls, particularly those from the ethnic minority background. Based in the borough of Hounslow and in Tower Hamlet, we're a pan-London reach, and we are a by and for, we're working with a by and for ethos. Keeping the time factions in position, I won't go through everything, but just to very quickly to sort of run through our vision to eliminate all forms of violence against women and young girls, particularly within South Asian and the Middle Eastern communities. The focus is purely because Hounslow is over 50% ethnic minority communities, and this problem seems to be rising, so therefore 80% of the work that we do is actually in the area of domestic abuse support. Our mission is to challenge and transform societal beliefs, empower future generations to break the cycle of abuse, promote economic independence through entrepreneurship and personal growth. Our services breakdown is basically supporting women it's a trauma-informed, culturally competent service, because what we have learned is that although many, many great organizations are working in the borough of Hounslow, however, there is a gap in service due to the fact that language is the biggest barrier. Community is quite invisible. They're not able to access certain services as a result of that. And so, therefore, we actually provide bilingual services in relation to that so that they're able to access all the services. And predominantly, our work is in domestic abuse, health and well-being, skills development, and enterprise readiness and business startup support, youth empowerment, women involved with the prison and the criminal justice system. So when women leave prison, we support them to get back into the community. Moving forward very quickly, I'll just run through some of the aspects. So 80% of our service users come from the South Asian and the Middle Eastern communities, 60% are Indian, Pakistani heritage, and 9% of them are African, Black, and Caribbean heritage. The 85% the group is within the age of 20 to 60, and 20% of the service users are migrant and non-British citizens. And I won't bore you with the other details because I have a lot to get through. This gives you an insight as to who we have supported. We've got a very high percentage of women who are basically experiencing self-harm. You can see the ratio of domestic abuse, and in relation to women experiencing hardship, legal issues, housing, and training needs, and safeguarding and food poverty, which seems to be rising year after year. So domestic abuse support. So the British crime statistics have identified the fact that 1 in 4 women will be affected by domestic abuse in their lifetime, and two women are being murdered on an average each week. So what is the difference between normal women experiencing abuse, But the ethnic minority communities, the experience of domestic abuse is very different because they have the added layers of FGM, dowry-related crimes, marriage abandonment. Marriage abandonment is practice in which perpetrators take victims abroad and leave them with no means of returning to accessing support. Women trafficking in the area, is camouflaged as a forced marriage also. Economic and financial dependence, and so basically what's contributing also is a distrust of the authorities and the barriers they're constantly facing, control, manipulation, immigration, legal barriers, and the list goes on. Then as a result of that, they're experiencing isolation and also rejection from partners. Now often these areas are actually overlooked or not even identified, basically, because and Ahmed, with all due respect, are very, very busy people. So, it's good to have these sessions, and I'm really, really grateful to Hounslow local authorities, particularly to Matt, who's given us the opportunity to bring these facts and figures out into the open today. So as a result of all of that, then these are the predominant areas that generally gets impacted. And again, everything that's being said today, it has a direct impact in the way how the communities, their experience of accessing service is. What is the reality of life? This is basically just gives you an insight as to what is an average woman is experiencing in that situation, basically. Moving forward very quickly, so just the interconnecting project of domestic abuse is called 1,000 Cuts. And this is a way of women experiencing, they are portraying their pain through this, basically is derived from the ancient Asian form of torture called lynching. So we have basically an artist who's working with us who has actually helped us to put these portraits together, which actually tells the narrative of the women's experience of domestic abuse and what their life has been like. It's been a great experience because the project has just hit off really well, and it's actually traveled around the world, as you can see, different parts, and I won't go into that. I'm really proud to introduce to you the fact that we were given the opportunity to create Women's Wellbeing Hub. We have actually pioneered this because having now understood the needs of the local community, the women and the girls within the borough, we have decided that we need a space where women can come in, a safe space where they can have a conversation and they can discuss the issues that they're experiencing. So the aim is basically to make health and well-being easily accessible to those women who face multiple barriers within our community. The hub provides, basically it's free to attend, and it's bilingual, so we have a variety of different languages, basically our volunteers, they speak different languages. We have different language materials which are provided to the women, and therefore they have, we invite clinical and non-clinical stakeholders on a weekly basis, and they come in and deliver their services. We work very closely with NHS as well, and you can see on our table we've got lots of flyers that, we are working with them in multiple different languages. Moving forward to the employability and self-employment program, this is basically also part of the skills development. It takes a woman through a journey of, it's a 10 weeks program of personal development and employability skills, leadership, and supporting them into employment if they're interested, because it's basically tapping into their innate skills of starting a business. So they have the idea, they have the skills, but they don't have the business know-how. This is what the measures we put in place to support those women. Next, moving forward, is our youth support program, which is called I Matter Too. And again, this really focuses in the area of, very quickly I'll tell you, we were actually commissioned by Hounslow Local Authority in 2022 with regards to basically identifying the mental wellness. Research was to hard to reach community ethnic women and girls, and identifying the multiple forms of structural inequalities that impacted young girls in the area of mental health and well-being. So what does the program actually covers? So the session is actually introduced into multi-generational trauma, boundaries with families and relationship, mental health, healthy relationships, consent and self-worth, financial awareness, what matters to me, girls matter too as well, because we're giving them a voice, beauty standards and social media, and just how it impacts their lives. So this is basically part of our youth support program, and this is just one of the sessions which was delivered in a local school. So in a nutshell, just wrapping up the conversation, you can see that how holistic the work that we're doing in terms of supporting the women is a wraparound service in all the areas that I've identified, so that basically they're on a journey when they come on, and we literally take them through until they're ready to let go. We are very fortunate that this year we have been now opened up 2 additional hubs, which is Beavers Hub and Convent Way, and we will be soon joining Meadowbank as well. So we are now operating from 4 different sites, and also we have opened up 2 sites in Tower Hamlets and Newham. And so that just gives you some idea of the work that we're doing and how supportive the local authority has been with us in terms of supporting the work that we're doing. And that's it, basically. Thank you. I don't know whether there's any questions at all. Does anybody want to find out? Oh.
Right. Thank you very, very much for that very fast-paced presentation. Yes. You clearly provide a lot of services and a lot of support for the residents along the Borough of Hounslow. I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask our councillors if they have any questions for you. Would you mind answering a few questions? No. Would you like to grab the mic again? Okay, do any councillors have any questions for... Okay, Councillor Garawal.
Firstly, thank you so much for an inspiring presentation and all the work that you do. Chair, thanks for giving such fantastic exposure and opportunity to such a wonderful charity to talk today. Let's be very clear, Chair. 1 case of domestic violence in this country is 1 too many. This is a case that is particularly plaguing our ethnic minority communities, and unfortunately across the borough. As councillors across this table, we can say that we have a safeguarding responsibility, and I'm sure all of us have had residents contact us about this very sensitive topic. In my own house, we've given comfort and also let people stay with us throughout my life, 3 in particular from villages near where my mum and dad are originally from. Some actually kicked me out of my own bedroom, stayed there for 6 months to a year, and I slept in another room or in the living room. So this is a very sensitive topic. And I must commend you, there's good coverage, right? From Beavers Library, to now you're saying Meadowbank and what have you. Is there any other way that the council can support you in what you do? And as councillors, is there anything more that we can do for you to support your charity? And I'm more than happy to do it. So that's really my question, how I can help expedite your fantastic work and really enable you to do more.
Thank you very much for that.
I'll second that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it means a lot to hear those words. However, I mean, I have to say this because, just out of honesty, sometimes it's very, very difficult to reach out to councillors. And what it is that small organization, we're a micro-sized organization. I think it's only the dedication of the staff. 95% of our staff members, including myself as a founder, come from a lived experience, right? So you can imagine the passion is incredible, and we're really grateful for the work. But what happens is that when you don't end up getting any funding for the work that we're doing, and I know there are many organizations sitting here, it's really heartbreaking. So I think council should open up different portal areas of getting fundings and supporting local organizations, especially in the area of trading, because funding is so unpredictable. You don't know from 1 minute to the next whether you're going to get it or you're not going to get it. And then it leaves you in that positioning, which you then become very vulnerable. We've just been very fortunate and very grateful to Mamta, I don't know if she's still around, to Matt, and all the community officers who have been working with us and supporting us through this, which is what's given us the real confidence to keep opening up the house. And I don't get paid for the service that I deliver. I'm the founder. I've never been paid. It's coming up to 10 years. But, I mean, it's a really important point that, it has to be taken into consideration. It must not be treated as one-off statistics. You've all come in today, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. Everything you've listened is reality for many, many women. And sometimes we just don't speak out. I come from a lived experience of domestic abuse myself. Somebody like me, stand there, you would never think I've gone through this, right? But that's the ground reality. You've got to take these factors very, very seriously. And my message is to the Matt as well, to everybody here, that everything that I've shown here is ground reality. So it cannot, which is why I felt, please forgive me for saying that, when the community is raising points, it must be listened to. It's got to, because we feed into the bigger plan of the local authority. We are that bridge between you guys and us. We give you that data to tell you what's happening on the ground. So sorry, I'm going to go on and on. I better shut up. But yeah, that is the ground reality. So definitely, please, any support when we reach out to you, it must not be treated as, yeah, you've come in, you've done a tick box exercise, and sorry, that's the only word that I can use and I say this from experience, but we have to be supported. We must be supported, otherwise all the good works that local organizations are doing, they will get very disheartened and you'll see them going down.
Okay, thank you very much for your elaborate response. Any other councillors wish to ask any questions? Okay, do you mind taking a couple of questions from the floor?
No, go for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
far away. Could we have another mic? Sorry.
I just want to also thank you for your presentation. Back in 1973, I was a student in Chiswick, and on a Thursday night and a Saturday morning, I worked for Chiswick Women's Aid. It was set up by Erin Pitsey and Anne Ashby. So Hounslow has a tradition of trying to support groups like this. I felt it important to make that link because Hounslow was reluctant to take on that issue back in those days. They did eventually, and it proved very successful at the end of the day. They had a house in Chiswick High Road for some years, and then they moved elsewhere. But with the support of the council, of course, they moved elsewhere. But there is a tradition here of trying to support this really difficult and important issue. And what I'm most impressed by is when I was involved in Chiswick Women's Aid, it was simply about offering a refuge to women in this situation. What you're doing is taking that a stage further.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're offering work, you're offering
Absolutely.
well-being issues, education.
Absolutely.
So it's more than refuge. It's about taking the individual beyond their experience.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Right, if there's no further questions from the floor, once again I would like to thank you on behalf of the Heston Cranford Area Committee members for your wonderful presentation, and I must say again, multitude of services that your organisation provides, and I thank you very much for that. Thank you. Matthew?
I did remember that one. So on the 21st of October and 23rd of October, so on 21st we're doing the festive month of celebrating Diwali at the Convent Way on Beavers, and on the 23rd is on Convent Way. Now what we're trying to do is to actually promote Convent Way in such a way to entice all these events to the local community for them to really come out and come out of isolation. So Diwali event is basically is for everybody. So please, we'll try and pass all the details on, but yeah, do join in, please, if you can. Thank you. Timings are from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that presentation. It's now coming up to about 8 o'clock, and we're going to move on to the agenda item number 4, which is the open forum. And before we formally open it up, I've got a public statement to make. So the open forum provides an opportunity for residents to share their ideas, debate local topics of importance, and voice their concerns to councillors and other key representatives of the council. Where available, council officers will attend to provide updates on issues raised at the last meeting. Right, I've been advised that we do have another short presentation, which I would like to invite Rob Hislop regarding recycling and waste. James Perkins, sorry. part of the same team. I think there's two gentlemen from the same department. Okay, over to you.
Okay, hopefully you can all hear me. I addressed the March group about the plans that we've got for waste and recycling collections in the borough, and how that impacts obviously onto the Heston Cranford area. Just to frame it very briefly, we've got a whole framework of new legislation coming in terms of waste and recycling. An expanded range of recyclables, a weekly food collection, soft plastics coming in 2027 collections, to all borough households. So at the moment, and traditionally, we've really concentrated on the curbside. This is the easiest thing to do. We've got to provide these services, some of them on a weekly service, to flats above shops, and the remainder of the communal areas that aren't covered with recycling and food waste collections at the moment. Excuse me. And this has all got to be done by April 2026. So the key question is, how are we going to achieve this? We know the problem with flats above shops. We know the problem with communal collections. The grit bins, which you see littered around the borough, work to a degree in certain locations, but that's purely for residual waste, just for black bag waste. So the problems we're experiencing purely on the residual waste side, we might treble when I start providing services for recycling and for food waste. And because the problems are so bad in some areas, we can't compound those existing issues. So we've got to think differently. Luckily, I'm also procuring a new refuse collection fleet and recycling collection fleet. So quite often, if you've got a fixed methodology for collections, you buy the fleet to meet the needs of that collection service, or vice versa. You've got a collection fleet, and the collection service meets the needs of the fleet. So luckily, I'm doing these two things at once. Over the last 6 months, we've surveyed 1,500 areas of the borough, flats above shops, communal, to see what works, to see what's going to be needed. Not only in terms of comms, how are we going to get this messaging out? They're traditionally they're a hard to reach group in terms of recycling. There's quite a large churn of householders. English isn't always the first language either. So, and what do we need in terms of infrastructure? I don't want to just put 3 grit bins in front of every shop front in the borough. Some will be predicated on sacks, some will be predicated on grit bins where they work. There's going to be near entry systems, mini bring sites effectively, and some will be traditional wheeled bins where the space allows. So I've got considerations around safety of use and safety for collection. I can't block pavements with lots and lots of bins. And what I've got to be really careful of is not to compound the issues that we're facing now in certain areas. Some of it is resident behaviours. Some of it is passer-by behaviours. They'll use the grit bins as if it's a litter bin. Some of it is to do with the demarcation of services within the council. I would love to look after streets, because if I was looking after streets as well, it would all be my responsibility, and I'd pick both bags up, be it household or fly tip, at the same time. So we've got these issues of my waste crews will only pick up the waste bins, the waste bags, and the highways department, who look after streets, will pick up the fly tipping. It's where we are. So we're looking at those solutions as well. We've conducted the survey, as I say, 1,506 locations in the borough. So we know what the solutions are going to be for every given area. And I appreciate you care mostly about this area and this ward. I'm planning for the whole borough. I'm also having to plan for the whole borough for 10 years, because whatever vehicles I buy will predicate the collection service. So the opportunity to get it wrong is quite big and quite expensive. So I'm making sure it won't be wrong. But on the same hand, I can't have 15 different collection systems, because I need 15 different vehicles, 15 different messaging. So that work is underway at the moment. We have been given some transitional funding from DEFRA, from the government, to assist us with the food waste. but we're probably a couple of £100,000 short of what's actually needed in terms of vehicles, bags, bins, and the comms that goes with it. So over the next 6 months, you're going to start seeing grip bins being taken away, new bins being put into place. There'll be communication with each of the forums, with each of the wards, and each of the ward councillors going forward, so they're aware of the solutions that are available and what they're likely to be seeing in their areas going forward. So that's my update from my March. If there's any further questions, I'm more than happy to take them.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Thank you for that short presentation on waste and recycling. I know for some residents it's been a bit of a bugbear regarding the flats above shops, etc. Firstly, I'll come. Okay. Do any councillors have any questions? No? Open to the floor. Any questions? Okay. Can I have the mic handed over to the lady over there? Oops. And before you start, if I can just make a quick announcement. There's a vehicle which is blocking one of our councillors who had to leave early. It's a van, it's a silver van, Vauxhall, and the registration number is FE19TJY. If that belongs to any of you, if you can please expedite its removal. And I don't see anybody moving, so can we just confirm that registration again? It looks white or it's silver, but anyway, the registration is FE19TJY. It's an Aston Vauxhall, it's a Vauxhall. Okay, Matthew, you want to see if there's somebody in there?
There's no one in here, no?
Look, doesn't look like it. Maybe somebody over there. Right, over to you.
Hello. Wondered if your remit is also fly tipping. It's not. Oh, what a shame.
It's not, I'm afraid.
What a shame. Second thing is, how are we going to tackle the behaviour of residents in terms of recycling properly and managing their own waste properly instead of just dropping it on the street?
No, exactly. And, it's a logical step from all things waste to fly tipping, because eventually it becomes waste. It's waste on the street. Either it's contained in a black bag or... yes, at the moment we've got quite an effective enforcement strategy just on the fly tipping issue at the moment that's being delivered. I come very much, it's okay punishing bad behaviour, but we've got to enable good behaviour. And how much of that are we actually doing at the moment? If I give someone a grip bin, am I actually telling them how to use it, what goes in it, what doesn't go in it, when is it going to be collected? Please don't put bags next to it. And how often am I doing those comms? So it's something we identified of, are we enabling good behaviour? And it's something that's, is the comms strategy, which is going to accompany the rollout to flats above shops and communal properties, is absolutely key. They've got to be accessible services, and they've got to be understandable, and as far as possible, they've got to be easy. And at the moment it's not. People living in flats above shops haven't got any options in terms of their recycling or their food waste. So what are the best options? And how do I communicate that? Myself and my team, and a lot of work and quite a lot of science is going into this. So rather than just it being a comms campaign, we are looking at the behavioural sciences. What works? When does it work? Do I blow my comms budget in one big, or do I drip feed that message? And drip feed that message in 50 languages. But again, it's all about enablement. If I give someone a bin and teach them how to use it, that's the ideal solution. At the moment, we're just giving someone a bin, and the comms is a little bit behind. Or the comms is brilliant, and I'm not giving them a bin, or the bin's too small, or I'm only collecting it once a week, and it needs a twice-a-week collection. So we've got lots and lots of options, but we are trying.
It's great to hear that you and the council are considering how to improve waste collection and recycling. Fantastic. It's a bit disappointing that you're carrying on your discussions without reference to the community. Heston Action Group, of which I am the chair, was set up in 2018 to green help to green and clean Heston. So we would welcome any observations and discussions with you about how to cultural change some of the issues that are happening in this location and elsewhere. It's not just this area, it's all over the country where there are problems of this nature.
Yep.
I just want to make one, that's my major point. Have a discussion with us, reach out to us, and we'll embrace you.
And I have reached out to you
Good.
recently,
Well, then
and I'm awaiting your response.
Oh, are you? I didn't know about that. I'll look for that.
That's correct.
One observation. We were in Australia this year, and we had a moment of watching how Brisbane collected its waste. There was one lorry and one man with a fantastic hook on the back of their lorry. Yep. And they emptied the whole street in a matter of seconds. Yes. It was quite cheap. I'm sure. The lorry was fantastic. The driver was fantastic. It was very, very efficient. It's not the same issues as we've got here, nope. But nevertheless, it's something to be considered.
No, absolutely, and we do look at models elsewhere. Australia is a perfect example. Collections are very, very cheap because it's still the whole country is still predicated on landfill at $5 a tonne. Yeah. We are predicated.
This was only collection, of course. I don't know what they did with the waste, but yeah. I watched them collect.
Okay, right. So yeah, thank you for your observations and thank you, Jim. I'm going to now move on to another presentation. I think Rob Hislop, the head of Transport and Planning, would like to present a transport update. Oh. Over to you, Rob.
There we go, sorry. Hi, my name's Rob Heslop. I'm Head of Transport Planning and Road Safety. So I've got a very quick update. I've got just a few slides to run through very quickly. And then happy to take any questions. Short presentation, so we've got longer time for questions. So I work with my colleagues in the parking team, in the traffic and capital delivery team, and in the programme and strategy team as well, we all deliver different elements of transport and traffic between and parking between us. So I will do my best to answer any questions, and if I can't answer any questions, I will take things away. Right. So just a couple of slides just showing a couple of things that we're delivering at the moment in the area. So just in the process, this is mostly delivered now, I think, on Southall Lane, part of a priority cycle route 7, which is a key link to Heathrow for a lot of people who work in the area to get to Heathrow safely by bike. Mostly delivered. There's two elements of this that are not delivered yet, which is the bridge over the motorway, and there's a bus stop that hasn't been delivered yet, mainly because TfL are pausing to design of some of the bus stops on cycleways. But this provides 2 new zebra crossings at the roundabout with Southall Lane. There's segregated footways, entry treatments at the crossings and junctions, so safer for pedestrians and cyclists. As I say, just a couple of elements of that left to deliver now. So this is something that my team deliver, which is cycle training. We deliver cycle training across the borough. We're delivering lots of nice cycle infrastructure, so we want people to be able to have the skills and the ability to cycle, and to be able to use the cycle lanes that we're delivering. So in Heston, we have a cycle training hub in Heston Park by the Leisure Centre that opened last year, and we have cycle training sessions on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So the sessions on Saturdays are women-specific sessions, and during the week we have some women-only rides with Cycle Sisters, who we work very closely with, and do a brilliant job helping us to get people cycling. As I said, we want residents to be confident and safe cyclists, so this is really key, and we're really keen to promote this. We We have a Sunday cycle club as well, aimed at secondary school children, aged children, 11 to 16. Again, we're really keen for children to cycle, to learn to cycle when they're young. We do bikeability in schools for all year 6. We offer that to all schools, year 6 pupils. We currently deliver to about 1,800 pupils across the borough. But that's really, really key for us, that we want to promote that so our younger people have the skills and the ability to cycle. And it's not just getting around on bikes, it helps with public health as well. So it's really important for us. A couple of other things we do: doctor bike sessions, which residents can bring their bikes to where the mechanics are, and they will do easy repairs and check bikes. So again, just making sure the bikes are safe for people to cycle. And we've just started working on something we just started delivering last year, is a Fix a Bike project. So working with schools and teaching our young people the basics of how to look after their bike, which again, keeping it roadworthy and hopefully encourage them to cycle, particularly on those shorter trips. There's a flyer up on there with a QR code. There were some at the back. But I'll give you, the email address is up there, so cycling@hounslow.gov.uk. Any questions about cycling, that's, I would encourage you to email that. We also have pedestrian workshops, so, Heston Village Hall, again, raising awareness of road safety issues for over 60 age group. Again, as it says on the slide, overrepresented in casualty data. So again, it's something we're very keen to promote. There's an email address up there, roadsafety@hounslow.gov.uk, for any questions about road safety. So I'll move on to dockless e-bike hire. So these, as you're aware that the council has changed e-bike providers. So Lime have been replaced now by 2 new operators, which are Forest and Voy. So these contracts started in August, and following a tendering process. And the results, the idea was that this commits the providers to more affordable pricing, better parking compliance, and faster response times to questions and complaints. So the changeover is happening in a phased process. So Forest and Voy are slowly building up their fleets across the borough. Lime bike users are not permitted to start or end rides in the borough, and I believe they're not permitted to ride through the borough either. So there's still some transition in progress, where we do find Lime bikes being dumped in borough. They are being picked up by Hounslow Highways and stored, and Lime are being charged to get them back. So there's again there's an email address. Any queries about e-bikes, traffic@hounslow.gov.uk would be the best email address. Any problems with the bikes, the Forest bikes or the Voy bikes, can be reported using the Fix My Street app, and they will be investigated. They should be removed if they're not left where they should be left. Happy to take any questions on that at the end. And then, as a result of the last forum, there were some questions for TfL. Unfortunately, TfL can't be here, so I'm a messenger with the response that they've given us. So I'll read it through, but I think there were queries about some of the bus routes within this part of the borough. So what they've told us is they don't have any plans to expand the bus network at the moment. And they've advised that there are links at the moment that provide links to Southall, Route 105 to provide to Southall. There's also the 432 H32 and the 120. So I won't read out everything, but I'm happy to take any questions, anything back as a result of this. But don't treat me, I'm just a messenger. I don't run the bus services, but we do meet with TfL on a regular basis, and I'm more than happy to take any queries about specific bus routes or capacity or frequency or anything like that back to them and raise that with them. One other thing I should mention is we're starting work on a public transport plan. So we adopted a new transport strategy last year, which has we have a walking and wheeling action plan in place. We have a cycling action plan in place. We're now looking at a public transport plan. So I think watch this space. We're going to be doing some engagement and consultation probably early next year after Christmas. So please keep an eye out for that, and anything you want to feed back to us, please do feedback. As I said, the traffic at hounslow.gov.uk web email address is probably the best thing to feed back to. That will reach me or my team. More than happy to answer any questions that people have. If I can answer, I will. If not, I will take them away. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Rob. Thank you for that. I'll crack off with a bit of a joke. In the old days, they used to say you used to wait for buses for a long time, and then 3 or 4 come along together. So this evening, the head of transport here has ticked off 4 issues that have, at some stage during the course of last year, come up at this area forum. So thank you very much for ticking off all 4 issues. So, councillors, do you have any questions? I'll come to the floor in a minute. Councillors? Okay, so mindful of the time, direct questions only and short responses from you, Rob. If there's anything burning issue, residents are mindful that, reminded that you can also put your issues via your councillors. If there's any burning issues regarding transport and planning, you can go through them as well. So very direct questions, please. There's a lot of hands have gone up, Rob. We're going to start from the right, and we're going to make our way across, right to left. Okay.
I've been reading the state of the borough document that was presented to the Borough Council in September, in particular Appendix 5 about creating a greener environment and how the borough is performing. There's also a section about transport. We live in an area that has got a very low PTAL rating, so I was a bit shocked to receive an email from TfL telling us that the 111 service was the frequency at some key times of the day was actually been reduced, and it seems to fly in the face of the stated lack of access to a sustainable public transport system. And I wanted to try and find out why there hadn't been any consultation about it, why an area that has such a low PTAL rating is having its service reduced and not improved.
Very good questions. I don't have the answers to those, but we do have a meeting coming up with TfL, so I will raise that. Obviously, we want to ensure that those parts of the borough that do have low PTALs have a really good bus service. That's essential. Hopefully that's something that we'll be addressing in the public transport plan. I've made a note. I will make a note of everything that is asked of me tonight and take that back, and I will raise that with TfL when we meet them. I don't believe they have to consult when they change the bus routes and the frequencies. So I will take that away and ask the question.
Okay, thank you for that.
Show me again, Councillor.
Yep. So the lady in the black, so you're going to work your way, Emily.
Sorry.
Mark.
It's related to cycling.
congratulations to Honorable Council as well, because they've been encouraging, especially ladies. My daughter, she's a cyclist, became a cyclist instructor. She goes to these places. My concern is I'm also encouraged to go and
Do you have the mic?
do cycling, but on Great West Road itself from Hounslow West towards Brentford, the cycle path, believe me, is unsuitable. You need to look into it because people are not safe at the same time. I don't think, when was the last time they refurbished that cycling path? Please look into that. Thank you so much.
So, just very quickly, TfL, responsible for the cycle paths on the Great West Road, is something we know they're in not a very good state, something we raised with them.
Okay, next one.
This one?
Yep.
Yep.
Hello, that's better. Southall Lane, utter disaster. I don't know who did the survey, but it's so rare you see any cyclists going down that road. Since they've done it, the roadworks were murder while they were being done, but understood they had to be done. But I can't see how it's helped the motorist, to be honest, because when you come down Southall Lane into the High Street and you want to turn onto the bypass, the traffic is, and down Cranford Lane as well, the traffic goes further back than it ever used to. And as I say, when are people going to start using that cycle lane? Because I haven't seen anyone use it yet. And also, the last thing is, you might not be aware, but as you come down Southall Lane into the High Street, there's the Queen's Head pub. And as you go past the pub, there's this little island thing sitting up out the road that is causing all sorts of problems. Because when it wasn't, before they did all these alterations, you could get people going down the left lane to go left onto the bypass, in the right lane to go right on the bypass. You can't do that now. This little thing, wherever it is, needs to be removed quickly.
Okay, I'll take that point back. When we put just one very quickly, when we do put in cycle infrastructure and cycle lanes, we do that to avoid impacting traffic because we know that's a concern, and we don't want to do that. And the change will come. The people don't start cycling overnight, but it's a gradual process. But it's something we need to do to make sure that we want people to feel safe when they cycle, and hopefully that removes some of those shorter journeys.
Okay, can we have the next question, please?
So
move across to the other side, yeah. Start at the front and then we'll come into the back. Short questions, please, regarding the presentation.
Right, this is 2 points, if I may. Regarding the cycle lane, I'm actually a resident on Ostley, and I'm part of the Ostley Augra Residents Association. I'm the treasurer there. And we've actually started a petition, so you're welcome to add to the petition. It's on the website, so to add to that weight to the argument as well. That was the first point. Second point is, just wanted to add, what traffic calming measures are currently in place in Alderney Avenue? Given that it serves as a gateway route for drivers avoiding the Great West Road and using Jersey Road as a speeding shortcut. Sadly, not long ago, my aunt was struck by a pickup truck further along Jersey Road near the junction with Thornbury Road, where the accident occurred, which was fatal.
If I may, so I'm really, really sorry to hear the sad news about this accident that a member of your family suffered recently. Regarding Alderney Avenue, there is already a petition regarding a CPZ for that parts of Alderney and Jersey. But in terms of speeding traffic,
calming measures,
I'm aware there is an issue with concern from residents about speeding along some stretches of the road, and I'm aware that some parts of Ostley have got some speed bumps. So, yeah. And I think it's absolutely right and proper that should a petition be put together, myself and Councillor Aksar are the local councils for that particular patch of land, and I'll be happy to move your petition forward to write.
There's going to be a new petition regarding the accident where it happened in Osterley, along with the case that where the driver was coming through either Alder Avenue or Jersey Road, so it will be a combined petition.
That's fine. Put the petition together. So, because your locality that you're referring to is part of Austin Spring Grove, that falls under another set of councils. But we work in unison, so get that petition together as soon as you can, and either let us have it, myself or Councillor Aksar, or Councillor Lukey, Tony Lukey.
Yeah, it will go to
So
either
either of us, you get it to
Unza
us, and
Chowdhury or Tony
we'll
Lukey,
process it. And again, once again, I'm really sorry for the thing that happened. Right, going towards the back, please. The lady at the front, just at the front. Yeah, and then we're going to move slowly backwards. Yeah, go ahead. Question to the officer, please.
Lovely, thank you so much. My question is not to do with the bikes that you've sort of highlighted today, but hasten to add, you are doing a brilliant job with that, because my son has actually used the facilities of getting his bike fixed, so that is absolutely brilliant. Off the topic of the bikes, I wanted to raise the topic of these delivery drivers on the road. Are they actually, firstly, fully trained on how to be on the road? Because they just drive wherever they feel like it, and they cause the most amount of accident injuries on the road. I know they're in a rush to get the food across, but there needs to be some sort of violations towards them and the local businesses for having people driving like this on the roads, because it's not very safe to do that. Do you have anything in plan or anything in mind to actually tackle this issue? Because around Hounslow, it's just ridiculous. You see the bikes just literally crossing the road without even thinking of the driver or the pedestrian. It's not very safe.
So you're referring to the e-bikes?
The delivery drivers, you know, they come from every, you know, takeaway store that you can see, and they just drive wherever they feel like it without even stopping at a red light. So it's not very safe.
Rob, if I may, before you kick in, I'm really mindful of the desire for residents to ask questions to the officer, but some of the questions are maybe more pertinent to the open forum, and I would want to allow, especially on that particular issue, I know we've got representatives from the community safety team and the police with us as well, and it may be relevant for them to get involved in this discussion as well. So I'm not too sure you want to add anything to that, Robbie.
So we are aware it's a problem. We know it's a problem. We are working with our colleagues in the community safety team to try and do what we can to tackle that. I don't know whether Tara wanted to. Or do we want to come back to it?
Possibly work with the local businesses to train them on how they should be training their drivers.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not managed by the local businesses. It's obviously Deliveroo or Just Eat, and they're all independent, self-employed, which is part of the problem. But we are working with colleagues to tackle that. I think Tara's going to add.
Okay, Rob, I think we've got Tara from the community safety team who wants to say a few words on if you can keep it brief, Tara, please.
Yeah, just to say, with regard to the e-bikes, there have been operations, joint operations with the Met Police. There was one last November. There was one in July. There's another one in November, and it operates from Hounslow High Street, where we work jointly with the Met Police to seize any e-bikes which have been adapted and altered. There's got to be points to prove, but they get those bikes seized, and that actually has a sort of positive impact all over the borough. So that will continue throughout the year.
Okay, thank you, Tara, for that. So there was 2 more hands, and then we're going to call it quits. So, Matthew, yep.
Hi. Does your training comprise of educating cyclists about not to ride on pavements, and to have lights on the bikes when they are actually riding during dark times? Thank you.
Yeah, we want to make sure the training is aimed at making sure people don't cycle on the pavements. We want them to be able to cycle, have the confidence and the skills to cycle on the road.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your information about the training. I think it's great. The problem that we have in this area is that at night time, I can sort of count, well, about 90% of the people who are riding around on bikes at night time don't have lights. And it's so dangerous, and I don't think that those people are actually going to be attending those classes. So what I want to know is, can you put some thought into some sort of awareness campaign, either whilst they're riding the bikes, somewhere like that's visible to them, because it's so dangerous that sometimes I actually feel like parking my car and stopping them, telling them they need lights, but that's distracting. So, and I think it's a really, really serious problem in this area. I don't know whether it's just the number of delivery drivers that we have driving around this area just don't know the rules, and they've just got no time to attend any classes to find out what the rules are. So yeah, so if some thought can be put into that, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, just briefly, we are looking at a campaign to work with the e-delivery drivers because of the safety concerns. I will take your point away about the lights. Again, it's something that we are aware of. Difficulty is trying to reach those people and whether they will actually listen to us. But it is something, again, very much we want people to be safe when they're cycling, and if they don't have lights, they're not safe.
Right, if I can please keep the momentum going in terms of the question and answer for those people who put their hands up. So I did say I'm going to take the last question. So Mr. Semi, over to you, and then that'll be the last question on this topic. Clearly, because we've had a number of issues on the agenda, 4 issues, right? So you can see the burning desire for residents to really get to grips with you, right? So maybe we need to be mindful of that fact. The next time you need to come to the area forum a little bit more frequently with maybe single or maybe even just 2 issues, and that way we can give residents more opportunity to have a good question and answer session with you, Rob. But let's just...
Always happy to come to the forum.
Of course. But I think we'll try and sort of keep it a little bit more concise next time around. Mr. Semi, over to you.
Very quickly, on the subject of the cycle lane, I've found that most of these cycle lanes tend to be a fire and forget. An example being the one, I know it's not Hounslow Borough, but it's the one on Greenford Road, it's Ealing Council. It's never used, and that's been there for 10 years. My question is, you say it's going to improve and over time the cycle lane will get used. Will it be monitored to assess whether it is being used or not, and if it's not, will it be taken away?
So we are looking at monitoring cycle lanes. We are looking at monitoring the use of cycle lanes. We're looking to do some monitoring of travel across the borough. This is a key link. We've been working closely with Heathrow Airport and with the Ealing Council and National Highways, who provided some of the funding for this, because it's a key link from Heathrow. Have a lot of employees who work at the airport, who live in Southall, live in Heston, and we want to be able to promote that as we don't want them driving to the airport. We want to try and get them out of the cars. So this is a key link. As I said, change to active travel doesn't happen overnight. It is a long-term goal. So whilst it may not seem that it's being used at the moment, we want that to change over time. But if we don't provide the safe infrastructure, we won't initiate that change. So it's really important for us that we provide the infrastructure, we provide the training, we do the promotion, the road safety element of it. We work with the airport and other employers to promote active travel. So it's part of a bigger picture really for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Rob. Thank you for that presentation and on taking on all these questions. I did say that was going to be the last question on the matter, and I'm mindful of the time, so we need to move on. If you do have a burning desire to ask any further questions, you can always go on our website as well, the Let's Talk website, so any burning questions regarding Heston Cranford can be posted on there, and officers will do their best to respond to that in due course. Feel free to grab the officer outside this meeting if he's around to follow up the question, but I do really need to move on to the open forum. Right, thanks, Rob, thanks for that. Okay, so we now are definitely on to the open forum, and the floor is open to residents to put forward their questions. Do we have any questions from the floor? Right. That gentleman over there, and then...
Thank you. Can you hear me all right? No, it follows on. In Cranford Lane, there was a cycle track planned. What's the position with that? I had literature on it from the Transport Department of the London Borough Hounslow a while ago, a good while ago, and nothing has happened. These cycle tracks, particularly the one in Southall Lane, is a disaster.
Right, okay, thank you for that. We've just had a presentation on that, so the slides will be available when the minutes are published, and you can review the presentation accordingly. So the officer has gone in great detail about the travel, the cycleway from Hounslow to Southall on that issue. Okay, question over there.
Thank you, councillors, for this evening. I just want to congratulate Councillor Dillon as well on his successful arrival to this this panel. I think one of the more sort of general observations I'd like to make in the upcoming, in light of the fact the local elections are upcoming, is that the turnout of people voting remains very low still. I think it was 22% in Cranford. I think at best in the local election we've had just over 30. I don't know how that compares to national levels, but I think you'll all agree that democracy and engagement within our democratic institutions, whether it's this forum or elections, are important. So I'd like to just understand whether or not there are any considerations or thoughts from you about how do we get more people, young people in particular, to just engage, whichever party they support, but just to engage in the electoral process and to take an interest in politics and attend forums like this. I'd be interested in your perspectives and views on that.
Any councillor would like to respond to that? Councillor Garwal?
Yeah, thank you, Navdeep, and that's a very hot topic, and I think so that is the future. We need more young people into this field because things are changing very fast in the country, and the leader has been thinking on this issue, and we are trying our best, but unfortunately we are not having much response from the younger generation to join politics, and that is a concern. And we'll try our best how we can engage with, we engage with the Heston Action Group. If you can in any way help us to promote people, yeah, why not? No, not you, but you engage with young people as well. So other organizations as well should even encourage. And the other thing is, I feel that all councillors should even set up a standard, high standard, to encourage people. That's my thinking, yeah.
Okay, Councillor Garwal, thank you. Questions, more questions from the floor? So, okay, go ahead.
Could I just ask what strategies that have been used to engage young people in politics? I mean, I'm thinking secondary schools, even junior schools, primary schools. They do look at the way, you make decisions. You can't actually just go in and say, we want you to vote this way or that way, but there is an element of citizenship that you can invite people in to talk about it in a non-biased way or a balanced way, if you like. So there must be some strategies, particularly at secondary level, where they can be discussed about, you discuss how the workings of government happen and how important it is to get involved in politics at some point, even if it's only to vote, and how to make those sort of decisions. I'm sure something could be done with schools.
Well, thank you for that question. Very, very topical issue. Councillor Garrell, would you like to say something on it?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that point. I think it's so important. Personally, I work with a lot of youth charities to go and talk to schools. There's one in particular, Voyage charity, who work with Hackney, Camden and Lambeth, and in particular with ethnic minority kids from really poor backgrounds, but they're still high achievers in education. And I talk to them twice a year, telling them what politics is about. What's the difference between a local councillor, a member of parliament, a member of Greater London Authority? What is the Mayor of London? What's their jurisdiction? What's your leader of the council jurisdiction? Because you hear time and time again on the doorstep, you're all the same, we don't see any change. It doesn't matter what colour your ribbon is, everyone's the same. And that's when politics has failed. Because from all different parties, we all stand for different things. And it might be for you, it might not be for you. We had a by-election in Cranford. I actually don't think that the turnout was low, I agree. But a lot of by-election turnouts are low because there's just not enough excitement amongst the electorate. And it's not just in Hounslow, it's not mutually exclusive to us, it's across the country. Unless there's a real local issue that has got some national attention, turnout's not that very high in by-elections, especially on a council level. On a parliamentary level, it might be a bit higher. But next year, when some of us, or all of us, depending on how, if the party reselects us and what have you and whatever, we'll see a high turnout next year. What we're doing as a council, and in Borough Council actually, the one that just went, we're thinking of adopting this pilot scheme where allowing people to vote over a few days instead of one day because of their work commitments or their caring needs and what have you. So we are really trying our best to engage with the electorate because those are the people we're ultimately here to represent and at the mercy of. Harjot, there's so many people here during the by-election, I was knocking on doors with them. And I said, vote for whoever, but vote. And that's a clear message. This is why I want you to vote for the Labour Party and here at Dillon. I used to say to people for Cranford, but just vote, and especially young people. I was also had the privilege of being the secretary of the selection process back in 2018 for the London Borough of Hounslow Labour Party. And I encouraged councillors like Aksa Ahmed, who was very, very young at that stage, still very young, but very, very, very young, because as a council and as a Labour Party in particular, who often run this council, run, we have to make sure our councillors represent the community that we represent. And that's old, young, different community groups, different parts of the borough. It's on our shoulders in particular, as the largest party, to do that. So it's something I always encourage a party to do. We need to speak in schools more. I go back to Heathland School where I went to, St. Mark's and others. We all do it, but we could do more. And we need to make sure the people that represent you reflect what you look like as well, so they can really have empathy towards your needs.
Thank you, Councillor Gariwal. I really want to... Wait. I'm going to stop the questions for a moment, because I also want to pick up, I'm looking at the time as well, I want to pick up an issue which was brought to my attention regarding a new query that was submitted by Brian. Would you want to talk to it, or should I just read it out? Can Brian have the mic, please? I think he wants to have a...
Thank you very much, Chair. I saw that Inspector Binns was here this evening, and I wondered if he was here and he could actually make a comment about that, or has he already gone? Okay. I've actually brought up over a number of forums the situation with regard to nitrous oxide. and I have continued my collection of empty nitrous oxide cylinders, and you won't be surprised that since the last time we met here, I have a collection of an additional 14 cylinders. And what I'd like to know is from the police whether they're aware of this and what they're doing to try and stop nitrous oxide being used in Hounslow, please.
Before I say anything on the matter, would the officer in question or the community safety team like to say anything regarding nitrous oxide canisters?
I'll fill the gaps there. The nitrous oxide issue is still a bit of an issue because the way it's deemed as a Class C drug in the eyes of the law. So it's a very low-level drug when it's used as a drug and it's been misused. What we found problems with, and it stemmed from Notting Hill Carnival, it was used massively. So they changed the law so that if people are using it and sharing it, they can be dealt with as a possession with intent to supply, which gives us a few more powers to deal with them. But it's still like a summary-only offence. So the eyes of the law, we struggle in how we can police it. Even if we think somebody's unfit by driving a vehicle while they're on nitrous, it's very difficult to detect unless we do a fitness test with them at the roadside. But it dissipates very quickly. So it's the litter of it is the biggest problem, and having people sat on the streets using it. So we can deal with them for the low-level offences of littering. If they're underage, we can deal with them for being possession of a Class C drug, going back to the parents and doing slow time referrals. But it's not something that we can deal with robustly as we could do cannabis or crack cocaine, which are obviously more severe drugs, just because of the way it's in the police and criminal evidence as a law. So it's very frustrating. There are ways we can deal with it, but we just need to make sure that the places where people feel very comfortable taking it, we are there, we are present, we are putting them off, and anybody who's under a certain age is being made aware of it, back to the parents, their appropriate adults in the schools to deal with it. Now, it probably doesn't answer your question. Is there anything else can answer that? But it's a bit of a difficult one to prepare.
Looks like he's got a supplementary. Would you take a supplementary question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Inspector Binns, for that, okay. Excuse me, at a previous forum, I did actually bring up the fact that I've actually witnessed kids in cars with balloons taking nitrous oxide. Not on just one occasion, I think now on 4 occasions. Can I ask for extra vigilance from the police to ensure that that stops, please?
To be fair, it's no-brainer. If we saw somebody in a car using that, they would get stopped. It's just being in the right place at the right time. Now, we are, from Hounslow point of view, half of Hounslow is covered by the Merton traffic base, so they have quite a large area to cover. And we are right on the extremities of their border. This is the fun way where our borders are set. And just north of us is policed by Alperton, so they cover everything from Ealing. So we don't get the coverage. I know it's really frustrating. We find that frustrating when we ask for support by the traffic officers who are specially trained in this and have all the equipment. They do come through. The response officers are very vigilant, but as you can imagine, we've talked about it before, they are run ragged across the borough. So if I can assure you, if we see them in the cars, they will be dealt with, because it's in our interest, because the quicker we deal with them, the quicker we can identify the side effects before it dissipates. And in respect of seeing anybody, certainly you dealing with it, my team and the other teams would deal with it in a heartbeat. It is a frustrating one to deal with, but it will be dealt with. But it's become so increasingly easy to get hold of. It's a bit of a pandemic that we've got to sort of manage, and hopefully the law will change in that in the near future.
Thank you for that. People who haven't asked any questions so far, looks like they are, gentleman at the front, right at the front.
Matt's gone.
Oh, thank you. Would you mind if I stand? Because I've been sitting a long time. Thank you. Residents, councillors, chair, thank you for giving the opportunity. You may remember, in the distant memory, I passed Councillor Vikram a petition. We are working in the area of Cranford. Some of you may know me as the dentist in Cranford, the emergency dentist, but others of you may remember me through my father, who was working for the community for a very long time. Councillor, congratulations on your new position. On that note, my sadness for Councillor Sukhbir passing away. He was an advocate for the local area and worked very hard, and our respect goes to his family. So the reason I stand here today, I'd like to bring forward the issue about the library, which we understand has moved along now. And we remind our councillors and our colleagues and our residents that this is a community building and has always been a community building, and we fear that yet again that we may be looking towards another loss of a community asset. We've been working very hard with the local area and local people. We've been engaging with the action groups, and some of us know us through the work we're doing with the Heathrow Muslim Community Centre. Many of the issues that we hear today can be really easily fixed, I'm sorry to say. Sergeant Binns, the issues that you raise, the issue that she raised, the organisation raised, and many of our colleagues, through community centres and community awareness programs. We've got a space. Let's not miss the opportunity to have another place lost to flats and houses and, you know, more accommodation and more congestion. This is a small area of Cranford, a very small area, a very tight bound area. Many of the other areas around it are as well. Let's not slip into that situation where we have a situation where we are no longer in control of community areas. It's very easy to move community areas on, off-sell them, but I appeal to the councillors and to the residents to support us in this project. We're here, we've got the team ready. We just need to move this along to the next stage. Thank you very much.
I think you mentioned this at the previous Area Forum meetings as well, and as far as I'm aware, I think you've already been in touch with asset management. I think they've probably sent you an email regarding expressions of interest, etc. So you're in dialogue with the council, which is fantastic. And
I was sent the expression of interest again, so I'm a little bit confused about that. The expression of interest went in 6 months ago at the time of the petition, yet today I received an expression of interest again, so maybe there's a little bit of overlap going on, but you've had it for 6-7 months now, we haven't heard anything.
yeah,
really.
perhaps there is a bit of an overlap, but as far as I can gather from the communications or the understanding that I have, you are definitely, your petition has been received and it's been noted,
Sure.
and you're clearly plugged into the network, and I think Councillor Garawal wants to say a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, and the passion, and you're spot on about Cranford being a tight-knit community. No decision has been made. There's a lot of, I might use an expression that the President in the United States uses a lot of fake news going on about that site. No decision has been made, but as councillors and as a council, our problems are multifaceted. Yes, we think community centres, like the libraries, should remain community assets. But the truth is, Cranford Library had one of the lowest footfalls in the whole borough in terms of a library. We hold our surgeries there every first Saturday of the month. You probably see 3 to 4 people there if you were lucky. And that library did their best to plug into every area of the community, as this lovely lady was talking about earlier in terms of politics. The Meadowbank Centre has been enhanced a hell of a lot to really be an asset for Cranford, and I really think it will be going forward. And I think that the leader, the lead member, the officers that have been involved in that project have done a fantastic job, and with my full support. Your petition also has my full support. I followed up without, speaking with you, and as the chair said, your voice has been heard, and apologies that you've had to declare interest twice. But if anything, it shows your enthusiasm for the site that you've done it twice as well. So rest assured, as councillors for Cranford, I don't want to speak for my colleagues too much, but we're all with you that we want it to be for Cranford, but we also have 4,000 families on waiting lists, people that are in temporary accommodation, some are homeless and some whatever. So there is a desperate need for housing in the borough as well. So there's a lot of things that we need to manage. I'm not saying that it'll become housing. I don't think any decision has been made, but there are many issues for us to tackle, so please bear with us. But also work with us, whatever solution also comes forward as well.
Okay, I concur. No decision has been made as yet. Right, so we'll start from the. We'll go to the back there, and we'll work from left to right this time. Okay, and again, please make your questions short and sharp because we've still got some items on the agenda to cover.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah,
It's not-
far away.
It's not a question, it's a request. I'm here representing Cranford Action Group, which is a litter picking movement. And I am saying what I'm about to say at the request of the chair of the movement. The request is, we are fortunate that Heathrow Airport is willing to, for a second year, giving us a Christmas tree, which we had, probably you would know. So we are one of the 3 areas that Heathrow Airport is giving this Christmas tree to. Last year we had some issues about it because the tree was a small one and it didn't have a firm base. It kept falling. I myself, several times, I had to go and put it up, etc., etc. Now that we have been given this chance again, so the request is for the council, for our councillor, Vikram, to give us his support vis-à-vis London for Transport, to provide us with necessary electrical power to light the tree. That is the principal request. And the secondary one is if we can have it move to the other little green verge area, which is next to Way Avenue. But that would be okay. We're still willing to see it, whatever, in Cranford. But I'm repeating myself, the request for you to approach, to support us vis-à-vis London for Transport, for this to be
Okay, I think I've got the
Thank
gist of it, and I'm glad that you got a Christmas tree.
Oh yes, and you haven't been willing to give us what?
Right, do any of the local councils want to say anything on this? Councillor Garwal.
Super quick. Shafiq, always great to see you, sir. Thank you for coming. Your secretary, Umi, emailed about this today. I've picked it up with Matthew and others, and we will do our best, sir, to give you the electricity you require to bring cheer, especially during the month of December and for Christmas.
Thank you, Councillor Garwal. Councillor Garwal.
Yeah, Shafiq, I would like to add that I gave a press release a few weeks ago that in the borough we will be providing Christmas trees to all town centres because there was a confusion that we don't have the funding. So I spoke to the leader. I said this is a festive season and it is a cultural thing which has been here in this country for ages. We should retain it. I don't care where you get the money from.
Okay, so as I agreed, we're going to go from the left to the right, but please, I don't require any more hands. So the people that put their hands up at the back. So
it's very hard to follow.
And then we're going to move towards the right, and then I need to move on to the next item on the agenda.
Yeah, so firstly, I just want to apologise. Can you hear?
Go ahead.
Firstly, I just want to apologise for my outburst earlier on. I think I was frustrated at not being, I felt residents were not being heard. I do agree that the public need to be engaged more in the democratic process, and that is a really important thing. But I think that it needs to go both ways, and particularly in respect to Rectory Farm, I understand that one councillor did attend, but 14 councillors were invited to that meeting from Cranford, from Hounslow East, from Hounslow West. And in addition, Heston Action Group wrote to all councillors of all 4 wards and the councillors in Hounslow West ward in June, advising of the next consultation meeting. And we also wrote to the chair and vice chair of the planning committee, the health wellbeing board, our MP and the head of parks and biodiversity, because Rectory Farm is a very, very big development and it will affect a lot of people for a long time. And no one responded to any of those emails. One councillor turned up. Now, I don't mind that one turned up, but what I do mind about is that nobody actually responds to the emails. Now, how can we actually have an engaged community when we've got people in the council who are not responding. And if councillors feel that it's acceptable for them to hold a position and not even have the courtesy to respond to something, I don't think that's a good, encouraging state of affairs for the public and for community groups. It doesn't encourage us to get involved in politics. It doesn't encourage us to improve our community. What happens is the few people who are actually engaged become really despondent and tired because we've all got jobs to do, and we give up in the end, and the community just erodes.
Right, thank you for that. I think I've got the gist of that. So, before we move on to the next question, just a quick response on that. I made it absolutely clear earlier on in the meeting, as far as I'm concerned, the residents have an opportunity to address any development that takes place on that site in due course. At this moment, no application has been submitted. There's nothing happening on that site. So to bang the drums now, fine, by all means, and I think Councillor Malik has already reiterated that he's on board and he's more than welcome to champion your cause. So until a sun planning application is put through, it's irrelevant whether there is engagement at this stage of the game. So it's right. Can I move on to the next person? No, actually, all right, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm from Sunshine of Hounslow and Ealing. We have been delivering a lot of services in Cranford area. I would love to have the hub operating by the organizations because, I run a special need children growing food and food waste training as well as yoga sessions throughout the year. So for us, it'll be ideal to use the hub and to support many people within the area. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for your activity in that regard. Can I have that gentleman in the centre?
I understand Hounslow just lost their ecologist in a time of climate crisis. I wondered if this is a position which is going to be refilled, or is that
Sorry,
a position?
can you just start again and speak
Sure.
up a little louder, please? Yeah.
I understand Hounslow Council just lost their ecologist. I wondered if this is a position which is going to be refilled as we are in a time of climate crisis, or is that a position which is now lost?
Okay, I was unaware that we've lost an ecologist, so we can find out and let you know in due course whether that position is going to be refilled or not. Let's go to the gentleman in front and work our way forward.
Thank you, Councillor Lau. Just a quick question really with regard to Brentford Football Club. Security lights coming on invariably all night long. This has happened on at least half a dozen occasions. I appreciate there's an issue with regard to a permanent electricity supply, but this does impact upon 6 or so households in particular, so that is of concern. Those on the north side of Alderney Avenue only really affect 6 houses that are in front of the Academy building. There's other issues with regard to brambles. I know we have community engagement meetings, but we seem to repeat the same story and nothing is ever done, sadly. And just final point just to pick up on Pancab's situation, yes, we would be grateful for the councillors to kindly look into traffic calming measures throughout the whole of Alderney Avenue and Jersey Road, particularly in the light of this tragic event. So thank you.
Okay, on the matter of the petition, as I reiterated, you have our full support and we'll back any petition that you put through the normal council protocol. In terms of the light pollution, yeah, I know it's a bugbear with the generators and the frequent nighttime light pollution that you're facing, and I think you've seen at the community engagement events that we both attend, that we hold their feet to the fire in terms of trying to address that issue. So I'm with you on that, and we will keep on banging the drum to get them to get on top of the situation. They are using those generators, and generators sometimes from time to time are faulty in the way they operate. But I'm with you, and I think Councillor Aksar with me is quite on board with this as well. So we'll keep banging the drum on that. Yeah. So we're with you in on that.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, councillors. Cranford resident for 50 years plus. Barclay Avenue and Bath Road Junction, the traffic lights there. The first time I actually complained about these traffic lights was 7 years ago. And the previous councillor Khalik and councillor Sukhbir actually brought highways out to the lights to stand there to see what the problem was. And it's a sequence of lights that's causing traffic jams back into Barclay Avenue, onto the Bath Road, opposite the avenue, and they're all converging in the middle onto the Bath Road. In that 7 years, there's been 2 fatalities. One of them was a 12-year-old child. I'm worried about what might happen in the future and how we can sort this out, because I hope that the new councillors can get onto this and move very fast, because I'm fearful. Thank you very much.
Okay, councillors for the area, would you like to pick it up?
Yeah, thank you, Anjum, for raising this. Happy to pick this up for you. It's something that I haven't heard from you yet, but I'm happy to pick it up straight away. From a personal perspective, I haven't seen any issue with those traffic lights. I haven't been as, stood there and watched them like previous councillors. It's not in our job to stand and watch traffic lights, quite frankly. But happy to pick this up and understand your problem.
Okay. Now, last two. Michael, okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Last 2 questions.
Thank you very much. Since our last meeting in June, there's been a couple of points that I wanted to raise at this meeting. First of all is the lack of maintenance of the public rights of way over Heston metropolitan land. The local authority has a statutory duty to maintain the public rights of way, the wayfinding, and I would ask that the councillors work with Bersha Holdings, who are the freeholders of the land, to ensure that the public rights of way are mown regularly and that the local authority reinstates the rotten wayfinding on the public rights of way, and that includes the stiles as well. The second point I wanted to raise with councillors to investigate and look into is the closure of Space Way for over 6 or 7 weeks over the course of the summer. There's clearly a lack of resilience in the staffing of the recycling centre. My understanding is one member of staff had a heart attack, and the entire borough didn't have access to Space Way for about 6 or 7 weeks. So if it could be looked into, that would be appreciated. And the next point is to thank Councillor for the Christmas lights. I was hoping that we might get to see some Christmas cheer in Heston as well. I'm not sure if that's within the remit. And then finally, just to say that we've had a programme of public footpaths replacements, which there has been a woeful lack of consultation on. I understand that is a major point for re-election of many of you next May, and it's a high-profile programme of works. But the lack of consultation with members of the public and consideration of the climate crisis and opportunities to green up our grey footpaths has been a real tragedy, and it's something that is going to continue between now and next May, because the programme of works is quite long. So if there's anything that can be done to recover that position, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one moment, Councillor Girl. So before you do, picking up the last issue first. So there's been a great deal of emails between yourself and myself and Councillor Shivraj Karwal on that issue, and I think the issue has been addressed. In terms of diversity and greening the borough, I think we're doing very, very well, regardless of incidents like this. I will give you an opportunity to respond in a moment. Regarding the Christmas lights, if you can identify a location, let me know. We'll see what we can do. No promises, but we'll, yeah, definitely something that we ought to look forward to and try to implement if we can. The spaceway closure, again, it caused a lot of disruption. I'm not too familiar with the rationale behind it and what led up to the incident, but again, we might get some clarification from Councillor Garawal. In terms of the right of way on the metropolitan open land, if you can just find me a small email regarding that issue, I'm happy to look into it and make sure that we try to find out some answer regarding the maintenance of that right of way on that metropolitan open land. So, Councillor Shivraj Garawal, over to you. Keep it brief, please.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. As far as having green verges on the pavement, which I totally appreciate and do encourage. I've spoken on that to you as well as Jasmine. I have spoken to highways, and I'm trying my best that wherever it is possible in the next phase, I'll try to do it. And as far as spaceway is concerned, nobody was sacked there. Yeah. Heart attack, yes. One person we have got two drivers there. One had a heart attack and the other one is from Europe, so he had gone on a long holiday. But now what we have done is that in future we don't have the same problem. So we are training one or two more workers there as HGV drivers so that if such a situation arises again, we don't have to close it down. Okay, Chair. Yeah. All right.
Okay, last questions from the gentleman at the front.
Thank you. It's not a question, I'm afraid. It's just an observation. I want to go back to the discussions we're having about politics and the engagement of the community in that respect. I think politics is both straightforward and simple, but incredibly difficult at the same time. It's simple, it can be simple up front, and we see that perhaps in the Brexit discussion, which we had. And we also seen it most dangerously, in my view, in the rise of reform. A simple idea as generating a lot of enthusiasm and interest. And that simple idea could catch on unless we start addressing some of the issues that they're talking about. I think reform is a heinous political organisation, but that case has to be made. And I'm fearful that we could, in 4 years' time, be faced with a right-wing government. And you as councillors, I assume, are fully aware of that. And so we have to address the simple idea, but also be concerned about the complexities behind it all. And that's what we have to talk about in schools. It's simple to talk about, but difficult to implement. And the range of things we've been discussing this evening is an illustration of that. There's an idea, there's an emotional response to things, but how you deal with it is difficult and complicated. And I hope having these meetings is a way of addressing the complexity of politics. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for your observation, and I think the councillors around this table share some of your concerns. But the Heston Cranford Area Forum is, I curtail debate in certain areas, and this is one area perhaps this is not the place to have that kind of debate. We will have that debate on the doorstep come the elections, and we will have engagement with residents across the borough regarding the politics from certain parties and how they translate to disharmony within our communities, etc. So we'll cover that topic at some other stage. But thank you for your observation on that. Right. We now need to move forward to the next item on the agenda. The last item on the agenda is the Area Forum Action Plan. So again, there's a fairly dry statement here. Whilst every effort is made to provide regular updates on the action plan items, it may not always be the case that an update is available for the Area Forum meeting. To find the most up-to-date information on the action plan, please visit the Heston Cranford Let's Talk web pages. Now, on the action plan, do any of the councillors want to take the opportunity to say something on issues that are relevant to their wards?
Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Shivraj Garawal first.
What it is, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, there is an action plan on this. I hope everybody has gone through that, or I can read it. The action plan is regarding the problems we had behind the shops. There are certain shopkeepers who are cooperating with us and supporting us in behavior change and to help monitor the use of bins and other things, etc. One of the business is continuously obstructing payments and leaving overflowing bins, which is being followed up by the community development team. There has been flooding on the zebra crossing during the rain, and which has been reported to the highways, and it is not a question of the block drain, but it is due to the uneven surface of the road. Parking enforcement has been implemented on people parking on the pavements, which is being monitored on a regular basis. A request has been made to highways to leave rubbish, not to leave rubbish bags outside Sunrise Poultry due to odor and pedestrian access issues. A CCTV has been installed by Betfred, which is a betting shop, and which is being monitored on a 24-hour basis, and FPNs will be issued. And we are even clearing fly tipping 94% within 24 hours of being reported on Fix My Street or by reporting it to the councillors. That's the update. What's happening on the shops here.
Okay, Councillor Shivraj Garwal. Any other councillors want to update anything on the action plan which is relevant to their wards? Councillor Vikram Garwal.
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep it very, very brief. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Matthew. So this is a topic really important to my heart. I mean, obviously, through COVID, we learned that our green spaces are the biggest assets in our community, and we must enhance them because of the multiple benefits that come from them. Avenue Park was a key area when I had the pleasure of being elected in 22 to represent Cranford as well as with Ghazala, but at the time as well. So let's go outside and learn, and Council's Parks team have been working together to secure funding for improvements to Avenue Park. As you know, we spent around 300,000 already. There's a lot of work that we want to do in particular, but this extra funding will be looking for a focus on biodiversity and community engagement in particular. Funding has been explored from the Crane Value Project Fund. I know some of them were here today, they're probably gone, but they've been really helpful in terms of increasing engagement and assessments for the concept of landscaping design and master plan. Key elements of the proposed improvements include an all-weather perimeter pathway, which a lot of residents want for walking and running, new and improved park entrances, something that is really important that hasn't happened, I mean, I'm 36, I haven't seen those tennis courts improved since I was a schoolboy going to that park, and they are in dire condition. They need improvement massively. So that's one of them. New bins and benches. It's always a bit of an oxymoron because sometimes that comes with fly tipping and antisocial behaviour, but we will do our best to tackle that if they come in. And a dedicated space for volunteering activities. It's a great place for a cricket ground, in my personal opinion as well. Application being submitted to GLA, Green Roots Fund and the Environment Agency. We're also seeking SIL funding, which is really important. A steering group has been formed and I believe I'm the chair of it. Hopefully, because you can see the passion I have for this. So you'll hear more in the coming months. Please do feed into it as well if you can. Next one. I'll keep it brief, Chair. Another thorn in Cranford is sometimes the condition of Church Road. So since the area forum last time, we have not sat on this chair, as you know. We've really gone gung-ho in addressing a lot of the issues. So they are fly tipping. Community Safety has requested an APCOA to attend and assess for evidence of fly tipping. Hauser Highways will continue visiting it twice a week and on an ad hoc basis where fly tips are reported via Fix My Street. And during the visit, substantial fly tipping was observed on the concrete bollards. It happens far too often there, quite frankly. 2 jobs are raised for a small-scale fly tip removal to street cleansing on the highway, which should now be completed. It's something that will happen again and again, unfortunately. Environmental maintenance and improvements. Lambton Green Space has scoped out clearance and contaminant options, including potential instalments of fencing and preventing fly tipping on the concrete bollards. In the past, we had a CCTV camera, as you know, Chair, that find a couple of people where we could, and it stopped for a little while, but it ebbs and flows, unfortunately. So we're trying to address it, the red route as well. There's no objections to it, so please do bear with us. Again, use Fix My Street. It's a very easy tool for you to address fly tipping and get in touch if you need anything else.
Thank you, Councillor Vikram Gurwal. Any other councillors? Okay, Councillor Aqsa Ahmed.
Alright, so it has been highlighted that the current play areas on the Heston Farm estate don't make the best use of the available space, and the community would benefit from a larger, more modern play facility. So in response, the estate improvement team has ring-fenced a significant sum of funding to transform the existing space into a new mixed-age playground. We've now received a quote and a selection of playground equipment from our contractor. The council's community development and estate improvement teams will be holding several consultation events and drop-ins over the next couple of months to gather feedback from residents and families on the estate regarding the playground and their equipment preferences. But if there are any more information you guys need, you guys can always contact Will Reeves at will.reeves@hounslow.gov.uk, who is the Estate Improvement Officer for Heston Farm Estate.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, councillors, for your forthrightness and consistency in trying to tackle the issues in your various wards. Some of the stuff is perennial and it's firefighting, and we want to see a culture of change and behavioural change in some of our residents, but the fight goes on. The other thing I've got here is there's a note here about Friends of Rectory Farm. I think Taz at the last meeting said he wanted to set up a... Do you want to speak on this now?
Thank you, Chair. So as the Chair pointed out, there's no planning application in as yet. There is a pre-planning application in, what I think is pre-application guidance for what they should put in their application. It's quite a significant proposal, involves quite a lot of negative impact on the local community, so we want to be ahead of it. Thank you to Councillor Malik for attending and confirming his support. We've created a group called Friends of Rectory Farm. We sent our first email out today. There will be a website just to keep the local community updated on the planning process and the way that we can respond and give our views as to the proposals in the future. So if you're interested in that and not on the mailing list, then let me know and we can add you to the mailing list and keep you posted, keep you updated. And I'm grateful to the Chair who sent me some guidance on how best to engage with the Council on this, which has been very useful.
Good, okay. So do touch base if should you want to become Friends of Rectory Farm. Now, that was the last item on the agenda. I'm now going to move to the very last item on the agenda, which is the date for the next meeting. It's here somewhere. Oh, there you go. Okay, right. So the date of the next scheduled meeting is on Monday, the 21st of January, 2026. So between now and then, what kind of celebrations are taking place? We've got Diwali, Navratri just happened, Diwali, Halloween, Guy Fawkes Night, Bonfire Night, and Christmas, New Year. Have I missed any other communities? If I have, I do apologize. Matthew, is this date right? 21st is a Monday, it's been challenged.
The information on the website will be correct.
Well spotted, it'll be corrected if that's the case. Ladies and... Go ahead, give him the mic.
Thank you. So Heston Action Group has been working for a number of years to try and improve the private access ways between the shop parades. I just wanted to make a public thank you to Tara Doyle, who has been so instrumental in engaging with HAG and with the local business community. She's been transformative. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank her, and I hope that we continue working with you. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all totally concur with that, and I think she's been definitely a breath of fresh air for us councillors as well, as the go-to person to kind of sort out issues that we see on a daily basis. Right, I've just had a notification regarding the date. It is a Wednesday and not a Monday, correct? 21st of January 2026 is a Wednesday. And Matthew would like to say a few words.
Quickly, Chair, Inspector Binns would just like to give everyone a quick update. So I'm conscious of the time. I should have done it when there's more people here, and I would have brought some flyers, but we've used them all up. Some of you may be aware from some of the forums we've been at that the Met sometimes a bit slow to adapt to new ways of working technology-wise, but the Met Engage is being heavily rolled out now, and some of you may know this, but for those that don't, it's a new platform to try and improve the communications we have with each individual within our areas of responsibility. Now, we used to have Neighbourhood Watch. It is sort of dying off because we need volunteers for that. This new platform, you can sign up to it on the Met website. It's very simple to do. You put your details in, what you're interested in being notified about, but it gives us the opportunity to be able to communicate with people within our community who have got particular interest in certain crimes, events, and it just means that you don't get bombarded with loads of information that we end up just deleting, and it's two-way. There's a change, so you can speak directly to your ward teams. Yeah, we're not trying to be too protective, but it's just to improve that engagement. But it's a massive task for us to get every individual household across the organisation involved. So please, if you could look at the Met website, sign up if you're interested, and just spread the word. And it just means it will just improve that communication on behalf of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Do you want to say something? Or? Go ahead.
Very last point, given that we mentioned Christmas and it's about spreading cheer, Chair, if I could just put a vote of thanks forward for all of our fantastic officers in the room that made tonight possible, engage with us as councillors, with all the residents here, the community groups that bring it all together. So a huge thank you to all of you for everything you do.
Okay, lastly, Emily, over to you. I'll say, okay, this event requires feedback, all right? So Emily's got some feedback forms. Can you please take the opportunity to note down your comments and let's have feedback on how we can improve these meetings. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Only feedback.